Ozempic, the gastric sleeve. What do these two things have in common? Well, both of them assist in significant weight loss. And even though some of you immediately thought of the most recent epic feud rap battle with Kendrick Lamar publicly accusing Drake of using Ozempic, among other allegations such as having cosmetic surgery, did you know that women are 4 times more likely to undergo weight loss surgery than men?
Drink the coffee, it'll make you feel better.
And these surgeries really help these women's lives. Not only are they more healthy if they decide, of course, to continue and maintain the weight loss, but they also get more attention. Not just from their men or boyfriends or husbands, but also from other men. And sometimes maybe a man you may know could be your best friend.
So yesterday I had a young man come in and he was getting a haircut. We consult. I get him to the sink, get him back to my station, and we're just making small talk. So I'm like, oh, how's your summer going? Did you have any vacations planned or anything? And he was just like, no, I'm currently working through, he suffers from anxiety and depression. He's like, I'm currently working through it. And I was like, oh, okay, I hope everything is going well. I hope you're getting the necessary help that you need to kind of work through it. So I said, and if you're uncomfortable talking, we don't have to speak about anything. He was like, no. He's like, I'd rather just talk and get it off my chest. So I was like, okay. So I let him go. I let him talk. He goes and tells me after being with his wife for 15 years, they were together for 15, married for 12. She had the gastric sleeve 4 years ago. She lost over 100 pounds. She was sleeping with his best friend of 20 years, and he had to find out about it via Facebook.
Wow.
So he's telling me his side of the story, how the whole custody, they're currently going through a divorce right now, how he found out about it, how, his soon to be former in-laws are on his side. They're very disappointed in her and so on and so forth. I noticed that he was looking at my licensing photo at my station. So he's finishing up his story. And he's like, is that you on your photo? I said, yeah, that's me. So I said, I'm going to share something with you. If this is triggering, we don't have to discuss it. He's like, no, I want to know. So I told him I'm a bariatric patient. I lost over 155 pounds. I am married. I've been with my husband for 8 years. We've been married for 6, so on and so forth. And he was like, really? Wow. He was like, you have such a good aura about you. Like, how do you stay so positive? And how was your husband throughout the whole process? And I told him, I said, my husband is a great man. This journey is amazing. I said, but at the same time, you will be tested. The grass is not always greener on the other side. And I just always hold myself accountable. I was explaining to him, what keeps me humble and what keeps me accountable is the fact that in the blink of an eye, my life can be altered. You know what I'm saying? And I could just crash out. And I can go back to the old ways, not taking care of myself, not eating clean, and just knowing that when I go home at night, I got a good man at home. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, the compliments are nice. Yes, it's fun, blah, blah, blah. But it's not worth losing what we've built over a fling. It's not worth it. Like I stated before, the grass is not always greener on the other side. It just appears that way. Clock it.
What a terrible situation. That's very unfortunate. Relationships are challenging, and a good man will support his wife when she wants to improve the quality of her life. He'll support her. And that's what this husband did. But never did he expect that when his wife would lose the weight and become more attractive, that she would let his best friend of 20 years we're talking about here, bust the cheeks and destroy their family. And what we just saw right now is the difference between a good wife and a horrible wife. The good wife being the type of woman who was faced with the exact same temptation, but she realized, she said, you know what? I have a good man. And so she decided that she was not going to give in to the temptation. Everybody is tempted. Everybody's tempted in every sort of way. In a relationship, yes, both men and women. This is life. But the wife who couldn't handle her newfound success via her body and the attention that she was receiving decided to embrace her inner 304. Do you guys remember this viral chick who released a video for her future husband to enjoy her showcasing a bunch of different exes making out with her. And she was talking about how, oh, I expected to be married by 25, but look at all these guys that were passing me around. Well, a lot of people didn't know that this chick also had weight loss surgery. And if you notice, a lot of the pictures she was posting, she wasn't overweight, which leads me to believe that she went Super Saiyan 304 after her weight loss.
I went from this to this in a year and with gastric bypass surgery. I got gastric bypass surgery 2 years ago. Best decision I ever made. No regrets. Full on baddie mode. I love it here. I love it here.
And let's be honest, there's a huge positive difference as far as appearance here. Women do increase in attraction when they go from overweight to them actually losing the weight, which is why it's really confusing when you hear women argue. And I'm talking about like the Lizzo size. Women argue about losing weight to attract more men. And they obviously get more attention from men because men are extremely visual. It's a straightforward fix to increase the amount of men who find you attractive.
Bariatric surgery 2 years ago, and I'm still not used to the difference in how people treat me now after losing over 100 pounds. I could talk about this for like 10 years because it is alarming. It is night and day. Like going from walking into a room, feeling completely invisible, and not just like in I feel like no one notices me type of way. No, like in an actual nobody noticed I entered the room type of way. Like not a head was turned. People will even be like, oh, when did you get here? Like nobody acknowledged my existence. 2, walking into rooms and immediately noticing that people know you're here. People notice you, and not just notice you, but people will go out of their way to engage. And that's the part that I just can't seem to get accustomed to. Like when you're accustomed to people ignoring you and acting like you're not there, you kind of start to get comfortable with that. And I got very accustomed to walking into spaces and not having to speak. And it's part of how I formed my whole introverted personality was off of the fact that people didn't talk to me. So I didn't really have to learn how to be that social of a person because I was accustomed to not talking to anyone.
I want you to imagine the type of temptation that happens with the woman who's been overweight most of her life. And I want to be clear here. I don't think every woman, like the wife who drinks coffee, who we talked about earlier, I don't think every chick that loses weight goes on some crazy 304 phase, but the temptation is there. And especially there if you're in a relationship, never been able to attract a certain type of man because there's a certain type of men who are just not going to mess with really overweight women. Yeah, you know, there's some dudes who, some chubby chasers who like the women thick, and I do mean BBWs, but that's just not most men. But think about this. You're in a relationship, you lose weight. The temptation, if you've never been that small to think, maybe I can do better, is probably there for most women who experience that.
Flash forward to now, 2 years after losing weight, and even like before this, like I want to say probably around like 4 or 5 months post-op is when I really started noticing it, the difference in how people engaged with me, wanting to speak to me, wanting to help me. I think that's a huge thing too. Like the opening of doors, people were not opening doors for me. The door was slamming in my face. But now people will open the door for me. They will want to help me carry things. They will no matter what, like if I'm in need of help, somebody is going to help me. I got very accustomed to doing these things myself, but now things are different. Even down to like walking in to ask somebody a question and they kind of do this thing where they just like stare and then they answer the question. And even that, like the first time it happened, I was like, do I have something in my teeth? There's something like on my face. Like it's confusing. And I know some people would say that that's like a pretty privileged thing, but I don't think so because this was my face. It was a little chubbier, but this was my face prior to losing weight. I think it's a body privilege thing. I think that simply being smaller makes society see you as having more value and they want to help you and they notice you and all the things. And it's still extremely alarming to me. And I just truly wonder at what place in this journey does it become normal? And like, I'm curious to know from people who were like skinny their whole lives and had the pretty privilege and the body privilege and all of that your entire lives. Like, Is it alarming to you, like, still, being that you've dealt with it your whole life, or are you still caught off guard? Do you notice it? Or if you're someone who maybe got it later in life, like at what point does it become normal to you? Because I noticed that it's weird. Even like my husband notices it too. Like he'll mention, like, he walks with me and feels like my damn bodyguard because he can see the attention that I get when I'm outside. And it's attention that I did not get prior to losing about 115 pounds.
Okay, she's married. Yeah, shout out to this chick too for not letting his best friend clap the cheeks. That story is insane. How can you not be dealing with anxiety and depression? Your best friend for 20 years. This world is cold. It's a brutal world.
And to be so serious, like, I remember when I was bigger, and there was a few times where I had thought that, like, I wanted the attention, like I wanted to be more seen. But not gonna lie, it does make me a little uncomfortable now. And it's something that I know I gotta adjust to, and something that I feel like I should be flattered by. And maybe one day I'll get to a point where I'm flattered by it. But right now, it's still very much like, what's happening? What are you looking at? Did I do something wrong? What?
I think she likes the attention. Whether you're in a relationship or not, if people can acknowledge, like, hey, you've been working on yourself, you've been improving yourself. I think she enjoys the positive results. Now, there is a conversation here to be had with, is it self-improvement if you go get the surgery versus actually working for that weight loss? That's a conversation, and we'll have that convo in a minute. There are a lot of people out here who think everything will change for the better once they lose weight, make more money, or God blesses them, right? By putting them in a better position. Maybe it's a new job, but you've been elevated. You've leveled up in life greatly. Here's an uncomfortable truth. Some people do not have the humility it takes to handle the blessings they receive. And that's exactly what happened after this wife, we've covered in the past, lost 130 pounds through weight loss surgery. Just like the other wife who smashed her husband's best friend of 20 years, still crazy to say that, she began receiving more attention from men and eventually cheated on her husband with a coworker.
So, met a guy at work, and we started to become friends. He was very flirtatious, gave me a lot of attention. I had just had a baby. I was about a year postpartum, and I was feeling, the weight was gone, but I was still feeling bad. I was feeling bored and frumpy, and I just wanted some excitement. And he and I became friends, and it was innocent at first. And then it gradually started to progress into something a little more inappropriate each day.
That's that work husband, man, that work husband.
I worked with this guy.
Husband.
I had to see him.
Despite her husband's unwavering support and love, she felt unfulfilled and sought excitement outside of her marriage. This led to an emotional and physical affair that she confessed after 18 months due to guilt. We're talking about 18 months here of her husband not knowing that a coworker was taking her to Pound Town on a regular basis.
And even though my husband, he was very uplifting, you're beautiful, you're this, but this was different. This was, not only did he tell me I was beautiful, but I actually felt it too. When my husband would tell me, I'd be like, oh, whatever, you're supposed to say that. But when this guy, it was just different. It was just different. We started talking every single day, meeting before work, staying late after work, and it just progressed from there.
Where did y'all have sex at?
Oh wow. At a hotel for the first time.
Okay.
Yeah. At a hotel.
You set it up like, all right, this is gonna happen.
Well, he set it up. We talked about it a lot. I was very scared because I had never stepped out in my relationship ever. So I was very, very scared, but I was willing to take the risk because that's how intense the relationship between us had got.
Intense. What a painful way to describe an affair. Eventually, she had to drink coffee and confessed her actions, expressing regret and acknowledging her selfishness. She describes the excitement of the affair and the dual life she led, but ultimately recognized the damage she caused. She also discussed the challenges of dating after divorce, because her husband definitely divorced after figuring out what was going on, feeling the consequences of her actions, and the difficulty of finding genuine relationships. This wife ruined her chances at a great marriage and ended up back in the streets.
I should have fought for my marriage. I should have read a book. said a prayer. I don't know, went to therapy. There were so many things that I should have did other than step out. But it had nothing to do with him. It had all to do with me and my selfishness. So now I relocated to a different state, me and my daughter, and 2 years ago.
Ran
I
away.
just started over. I'm dating. And it's different. It's difficult. You know, I got married.
It's trash.
It's trash. Okay, it's trash. I said it's difficult. It's really trash. It's definitely trash.
The streets.
It's trash.
Back to the
dating
streets
pool
with
has
you.
pee in it. I say it's straight sewage.
It's not even a pool.
It's sewage. Seriously.
Let's talk about the attention you receive after weight loss. So since losing 50 pounds, I've noticed I've gotten a lot more attention from men, which I'm still trying to process. Don't get me wrong, even on my heaviest, I still thought I looked good and I didn't need anyone's validation. But there has been a major difference in compliment. So before I would more so get complimented on my face. Oh, like, I think your face is really pretty, period. And then now it's more so a linger of up and down the body. Like when I say linger, I mean like lingering. I think why it trips me up is that, you know, I always see myself as that chubby girl like from 50 pounds ago. Goofy, funny, and kind of relied on my personality to kind of get me through life. So it's like now when a man calls me sexy, it's like, oh, you're talking to me. It low-key kind of trips me up, I'm not gonna lie. So it's like my brain is still trying to process this new transformation and sort of like the aftermath that comes with it.
Notice how she said that she used to rely on her personality. Could this also explain why really attractive women sometimes tend to be airheads, while women who aren't so attractive usually have really good personality? Also, you know, there's a lot of these chicks end up feeling themselves too much and can't find that humility, and it actually works against them and somehow end up single.
Let me know in the comment below if you guys have gone through the same thing.
So in videos I've done in the past around this topic, I made sure I was emphasizing the importance of self-respect and the danger of prioritizing fleeting excitement over long-term commitment. And this is a lesson for anybody, right? Man or woman. In this particular situation, we're talking about women who lose weight, level up, maybe she makes more money. Regardless, I made sure to highlight the lessons that can be learned, particularly though for men, about maintaining self-respect, because there comes a time when you do have to walk away. Another food for thought is there's something to be said when you've worked hard to achieve something versus taking the path of least resistance. And I'm talking about surgery versus actually going to the gym and working out. Imagine instead of the surgery, your husband was your support system. Every morning, he encouraged you, kept you motivated. When you lacked motivation, he was working out with you, right? He was making you the protein smoothies before you went out to work out and reminded you that in the end, it would all pay off. You can't convince me that that experience and journey doesn't have a strong impact when it comes to a woman who might be tempted to cheat on her husband once she finally is looking more attractive than ever. Overall, the lesson here is very clear. The grass is, in most cases, never greener on the other side. Find you a woman who understands that, drinks coffee, and knows how to be content in life.